I think it was President Harry Truman that said, I don't know why everyone is making a big fuss over me being president. I get up every morning and put my pants on one leg at a time just like everyone else. When you watch the sports news, Channel 5, there's a gentleman that had been on, recently retired, that made me feel like he was in our den or living room or wherever we might be, visiting with us, and he always said, I'm just a regular guy. We're indeed pleased to have Hope Hines with us today, and many of us have been looking forward to this for several weeks. Hope joined WTVF, then known as WLAC TV, as sports director in 1971 following his graduation with a Bachelor of Arts in Journalism from the Henry Grady College of Journalism and Mass Communication at the University of Georgia. Yeah. Beginning in 1975, Hines was sports director of a television station in San Diego, California. There he also served as play-by-play radio broadcaster for the San Diego Chargers. For a time, he worked for another station in New Orleans and served as a television play-by-play announcer for the New Orleans Saints. He spent a short stint in Charlotte, North Carolina, where he worked for the television station owned by Ted Turner. Next, he moved on to a job in Baltimore, Maryland, where he was television play-by-play announcer for the Baltimore Colts and television anchorman. Then in '83, Hines returned to the air in Nashville. He recently retired in July of 2011. I had 3 different introductions for Hope today, and I decided to use a shorter version. I think it was Admiral Kelso told us 2 weeks ago. The introduction is in direct proportion to the status of the guest. So we used the short version for Hope. And Hope, would you come up and share your stories and tales with us? We've been looking forward to it for quite a while.
I didn't get much support. I didn't get much support on that Georgia, did I? Huh? This lady back here shaking her head. What do you got against Georgia?
Not real great peaches.
Oh, very good, very good. A lot of mighty Joe Young, ladies and gentlemen, right here in the middle. Huh? I mean, we got to do this, right, Joe? I come, Stennis and I, my friend Stennis Smith from Nashville. We're in business together, and we do this radio program that we're syndicating. And so I invited Stennis to come down and be with me today. Stennis and I have known each other for many years. He was with Channel 5 when I first went there in 1971, so our friendship goes back a long, long time. And we're on the radio, and we call mighty Joe Young and said, what station are we on, Joe? And he said, 105.5. We dialed it up, and Joe starts talking about us coming to town, so we had a great welcome. I got to tell you folks something. You got a beautiful community here. Now, this is the first time Stennis and I, either one, have ever been to Fayetteville, but man, it really, really is nice, and you all should be very proud of that. I know that you are. Here's what you don't know. You didn't know that the first person that they asked to be your speaker here today on this particular date, I know I'm following the governor, I know I'm following majors, I know I'm following some heavy hitters, but the first person that they asked to be this speaker today was one of, I got to tell you because I know this, was one of Middle Tennessee's most highly respected, and might I add, influential citizens, but he turned them down. Well, then they got back together and decided, okay, he turned us down. Let's see, let's find someone that's a wonderful speaker that can hold you spellbound with stories of success and intrigue. Guess what? Turned him down too. Well, they couldn't stop. They had to have somebody for the 30th. Then they decided, well, okay, let's find somebody that's got all of the characteristics of the first 2, but someone that would be recognized instantly and loved by all of you. Well, I wasn't going to turn them down 3 times in a row. So here I am. I can't tell you how good it does my heart to know, when I read this the other day, I want to share it with you, that to know that our country, after 200 and something years, we're finally getting back to the religious roots and foundations that our forefathers intended all those years ago. And I'll tell you why I can say that. I read a survey that said of all the people in this country that they surveyed, 75% believe in miracles. Not bad, huh? Pretty good. 75% of the people surveyed believed in miracles. 50% of those were churchgoers. The other 50% were Vanderbilt fans. My friend said it. He happens to be a Vanderbilt graduate. As a matter of fact, he claims to have played football for Vanderbilt, but looking at him now, I don't know how he ever did that. But in any event. Well, okay, I can even, do we have any Tennessee fans in here? Oh, my God. Oh, we're inundated, are we not? Georgia ain't got a shot. You guys have heard of John Blue? Well, you may not have, but in my part, you heard of John Blue? All right, Mr. Young. Well, okay, that's a different one, I think. But old John Blue just happens to be the Vols' #1 fan, and every year he takes his family to Miami for a vacation. So he's sitting out on the veranda one Sunday morning. He picks up the Miami Herald. He opens up the inside page. The full spread says, "Weekend cruise, $100." Well, old John Blue said, "I better go grab that." He runs down he runs down to the travel agent, and he walks in. He's got a crisp $100 bill, and he lays it on top of the table. He says, "Sir, I'll have that weekend cruise for $100. "Yes, sir." Takes his money, puts it in his pocket, reaches up under the counter there and pulls out a baseball bat, hits John Blue in the head and throws him out in the ocean. Now, it wasn't 30 minutes later, an Alabama fan walked in right behind him. Now, hold on now, wait a minute. But you know what? He didn't have 100, all he carried was 520s. So he comes in and he says, "Sir, I'd like to have that weekend cruise." The guy said, "Yes, sir." He took his money, put it in his pocket, took that same baseball bat, hit him in the head and threw him out in the ocean. Now you got to get the picture. Here is John Blue, Vol fan, Alabama fan. They are floating out to sea. The Alabama fan looks over at John Blue and says, "Hey, buddy," he said, "do they serve breakfast on this cruise?" John thought for a minute and he said, "They didn't last year." Make you happy, Dennis? All right, now we're even. We're even. Good. Well, you know, I talked about Vanderbilt and I talked about Tennessee. There's just a myriad of things we can talk about here today. Let me kind of set the agenda for you, if I may. This is the way I like to speak when I speak to a group like this. I think we're just kind of here on the back porch talking and visiting with each other. Anytime you got a question, just raise your hand. I don't think we'll wait till the end of the, let's see, what have I got, hour and 15, 20 minutes to speak? Is that what? Why are you laughing? You know, all those years I had 3.5 minutes. When I get this, we're going to go long. We're going to go long. Anyway, so whenever you got a question, we'll start off talking about college football since that's kind of where we've been led there. I know you want to talk about the Titans, and I don't know anything about the Titans. No, we'll talk about the Titans. You know, it's a interesting and weird year from a lot of standpoints in college football. Let's see. Let's start with the Big 12 is now 10 teams. The Big 10 is now 12 teams. And the Southeastern Conference is just sitting there licking their chops, waiting for Texas A&M to throw their hat in the ring. But then you see the SEC's got a problem. We're unbalanced at 13. So what do we do here? That's what they're trying to decide right now. And that announcement very well may be already making news right now. I'm not sure. It might be tomorrow. It could be sometime before the week is out. But you see, ladies and gentlemen, it's all about greed, isn't it? It's all about money. It's all about the almighty dollar and how much can they put in the conference coffers. That's what everybody's trying to do, and I'm not saying that that's wrong by any stretch of the imagination. I'm just saying it causes a lot of cheating. Think about it. It just causes a lot of cheating within the conference because the pressure now is so great on the coaches. You know, they're making so much money every year. I got to tell you this. I was sitting down last week at a Shoney's, by the way, with an old Vanderbilt football coach, and we were talking about this very thing. He looked at me dead in the eye and said, "Hope, look, ain't nothing changed in 40 years. We bought players back then, not Vanderbilt, because they couldn't. If you bought the player, how are you going to get him in school?" But the point, the point being, all right, Sinus, I'm done with Vanderbilt. The point being, you know, they were buying players back in those days just like they are now. But here's what we've got. We've got all of the social networks. It's revealing everything. And back in my day, when in any given city you had, 10, 15 reporters, everybody's a reporter now. You got tweets, you got texts, you got all of this other stuff that I don't even understand. And everybody is trying to get into the game. So everybody is trying to understand and uncover what's going on with everybody, and they're finding out. And therein lies the problem. The other problem is the NCAA. The NCAA is kind of like the government of the United States. It's just too big. It's too mammoth. It's too huge for any one person or any one organization to handle it. The Republicans and the Democrats can't even do that. But I'm just saying the NCAA rule book is about like this. They need to get it down to about like this. You know, eliminate all of this other stuff that's going on. You've got Miami. What's going to happen to the University of Miami? They're going to get the death penalty like SMU did? When? Back in the, was it the 70s, I guess, when SMU got the death penalty? I don't know. I don't know if they are or not. You know, you've got what's going on at Ohio State. Look what's going on up there. I mean, we don't have to go any further than Tennessee, do we, to see what happened over there with Bruce Pearl and that whole situation as we cross from one sport into another. It involves everybody, every sport. I don't know that they do it in soccer and golf, but, you know, why do they have to? They give out partial scholarships. Anyway, the landscape of college football and college athletics today is not really any worse off than it ever has been. We're just finding out more and more about it. That doesn't necessarily mean that it's all bad. It's certainly not a good thing that people are doing that. But what it does is it mirrors what's going on in society, does it not? We read about all of the financiers, the white-collar crimes, all of this stuff that's going on. It's just a part of what's, you know, what's happening now. We'll talk more specifically, I think, about college football. I think that's what you'd like to do. You know, if you were listening to the other side of sports, and if you've heard it, you might hear something like this. How many of you in here know how many coaches in the South, and this is a Southeastern Conference town, right? SEC? Absolutely, I would think. Do you know how many played quarterback, head coaches played quarterback in their college career? Probably not. Start with Steve Spurrier, Heisman Trophy winner at Florida, right? Mark Richt on the hot seat at Georgia, got to have a good year this year. Quarterback at Miami. Then you've got Houston Nutt, quarterback at Oklahoma State. You've got Bobby Petrino, quarterback at Carroll, wherever that is. And then you've got James Franklin, new coach at Vanderbilt, played quarterback at somewhere called East Soderbergh. I don't have any idea where that is. I really don't. I need to look it up. 5 head coaches played quarterback. Now, what about the other coaches in the SEC? What did they do? Well, Nick Saban was a defensive back. Will Muschamp was also a defensive back. Ben Mullen was a tight end. Derek Dooley and Joker Phillips from Kentucky were wide receivers. And Gene Chizik was a linebacker. So you've got head coaches that have been in the trenches, and they know exactly what's going on. So whenever you hear somebody talk about he's a player's coach, you can do that with the Titans. We'll talk about them a little bit later. But when you talk about he's a player's coach, all of these guys have been there. Who would be the dominant SEC team in this town? Somebody just volunteer it and give it to me. Tennessee, well, obviously. So Tennessee, let's talk about Tennessee. Derek Dooley, for the first time, these young men have the opportunity to play for the same coach 2 years in a row. How about that? That's a plus. That's a big plus. Tyler Bray, offense. That's the whole deal is surrounding Tyler Bray and the offense. And now you've got Jansen Jackson, who has just been dismissed. Who, by the way, did you guys see? Just signed with McNeese State in Louisiana. He couldn't do it, you know. And if you don't know, his problem was drugs of choice, for the most part. And Derek Dooley gave him all the chances he possibly could. He walked down, excuse me, the road as far as he could go with him, gave him opportunities over and over again. And for whatever reason, this young man just was not able to take advantage of what he had been given. He did apologize, was it yesterday or 2 days ago when he signed with McNeese State, apologizing to Coach Dooley, to the university, to the alumni, the fans, and everybody else. But you know, there are a lot of cases where young men and women too, but you hear more about the guys in football and in basketball who just step out of bounds. They just get, you know, railroaded, and they get sidetracked into a lot of glitter, a lot of things that come along for them to take advantage of. We haven't even talked about the pros yet, but I mean, here are young guys who are taking money under the table, or, you know, being given automobiles in their parents' name, or whatever the case may be. You can talk about the Cam Newtons, you can talk about all of these guys, the Reggie Bushes of the world from USC, and how much trouble they're in. But it's just a part of what's going on. And sometimes you read these stories and it breaks your heart. Because here are young guys, and a lot of them come out of a culture that we don't really know anything about, because it's a different world than the world that you and I operate in. So we don't have the same values. We don't have the same rules and regulations that govern everybody as we all think we do. Who's going to win the SEC this year? How about Georgia? Georgia's got a pretty good chance. I'm thinking that the Bulldogs are going to play for Rick this year. They've got Aaron Murray, who's a fine young quarterback, and they've got some pretty good receivers. Defense, they're not bad. Everybody's talking about South Carolina. How many people know that South Carolina is the first school in the history of the Southeastern Conference to have back-to-back 1,000-yard gainer, 1,000-yard receiver, 3,000-yard passer? Marcus Lattimore, 1,000 yards, 1,197 yards last year. Alshon Jeffrey, over 1,000 yards. And then Stephen Garcia, who is their quarterback today. And here again, a sad situation. And Spurrier has gone with this young man. Spurrier's not a guy, Spurrier's a pretty good disciplinarian. He will kick your butt off the team pretty quick, but he's hung with Stephen Garcia an awful lot longer than I thought he might. But he's got a lot going this year, so I can understand. He's being picked to win the East Division by a lot of people. And, of course, South Carolina's in the top 10, top 15, depending upon the poll you want to look at. And then behind South Carolina, you've got Georgia, which I think may very well just, step it up this year and play for Mark Richt, who's a wonderful man. He's a fine Christian man. He and his whole family, he's adopted a number of children, great guy. And then you've got Florida. Well, what's going to happen down in Florida? You got a brand new coach in Will Muschamp. Comes with great credentials, no question about that. Defensive minded. This is where he is. He will coach on that defensive side of the ball. John Brantley, who's their quarterback. Is it time for him to finally make folks forget about Tim Tebow? No, ain't going to happen. Tim Tebow was just one kind of an athlete that you'll ever see. So Florida can certainly do some damage, no question about that. Behind that, you've got Kentucky, you've got Vanderbilt, who will probably be at the bottom part of the conference in any event. Tennessee is, I don't know where Tennessee is. I think Tennessee could win 6 games, perhaps, depending if some things fall right. They've got a tough schedule. Tennessee opens up. Montana, Cincinnati, folks, is a pretty good football team. So if they come out of those two 1-1, they ought to think they're lucky stars. Then they got Buffalo. They could be 2-1 at that point, and then in October it is murderer's row for Tennessee. They got Georgia. They got South Carolina. They got Alabama. And so Dooley can't afford to have injuries. He's thin, especially on defense up front. They're thin in a lot of places. But I like this young man, Derek Dooley. Of course, I was at Georgia when his father was there, so I've known Vince and Barbara, both his wife, for all of those years, and what a legend he is. And just went down, by the way, 2 summers ago to Athens, visited with Vince and Barbara, did a sit-down interview just as when Derek was named, and I knew it would be a good situation, and his wife is a hoot. I'm just telling you, she is a hoot. Anyway, Vince is a great guy, one of my favorite people in all of the world, did so much for the University of Georgia. And now his son is coaching at Tennessee, pretty much like his dad. Pretty much no nonsense. Pretty much a strict disciplinarian. It's kind of my way or the highway. We've already seen that. So I'm hoping Derek is going to be able to get this thing turned around and get it done. I mean, it's about the University of Tennessee deserves it, do they not? After the fiascos that they've gone through with Lane Kiffin. And I'm not going to stand here and tell you that I didn't think Lane Kiffin was a pretty good hire when it happened. And then, of course, the ball kind of began to unravel after that, and we began to see as they peel back the layers of that old onion there what was going on, and it wasn't a pretty sight. So, and here again, it's just all of the pressure that these guys are under. Over in the West, in the SEC, Alabama, all they're doing is reloading. Here it is. But let me tell you something. Now, I come from a state, Georgia, and I'm from Valdosta, Georgia, right outside of Valdosta, Georgia. If anybody goes down to Florida, you got to go right through there. Wave the next time you go, you'll see some of my kin folks over there somewhere. I still have 2 brothers there. But Alabama and Auburn. Is there another state you can think of where the rivalry between these two teams is so intense and so great? 2009, Alabama wins the national championship. Mark Ingram, Heisman Trophy winner. Next year, who? Auburn, national championship? Huh? And yet, look what happened. Somebody poisoned the trees, okay? Not a good thing to do. You don't do that. And then all of a sudden, a tornado hits Tuscaloosa. And did you see the way that these Auburn and these Alabama people came together? They didn't care who you are or where you came from. If you're here to help me, I'll put my arm around your neck and hug you. And there were a lot of people wearing T-shirts from Tennessee and LSU and Mississippi and Ole Miss. It's a great, great bonding, and I hate it to happen to anybody. But here are two schools who fight like cats and dogs. I got a son that went to Auburn. Why, I don't know. I got a son-in-law that went to Florida. Why, I don't know. We don't even speak during football season. But in any event, the intense rivalry between those two is just what college football is all about. And here we are. We're about to break out. It's going to start happening this Saturday. Is everybody excited? Are you ready? I think it's about time. We've all gone through a lot of stuff from last year to this year, and here we are. All right, outside of Alabama, you've got LSU. What's going on at LSU? I mean, here's a quarterback. Here again, we got another situation where a young man, you know, right or wrong, I don't know. I wasn't there. I wasn't in the bar. I don't know what he did. But his attorney today is asking LSU to reinstate Jordan Jefferson so that he can play while this whole thing unfolds. I mean, you know, and legally, I'm not sure if we have an attorney in here that might be able to speak to that. I think you might have some ground to stand on there. You kind of got to let the system play out. In the meantime, let the kid play. They play Oregon this week. You know, Oregon, pretty good football team. Going to be a nice opening. By the way, Georgia and Boise State, that's scaring the heck out of me. You know how that whole thing came about? That's the Chick-fil-A preseason special. All right, Chick-fil-A first decided they wanted to move the Florida-Georgia game. That ain't gonna happen, folks, is it? They ain't moving that cocktail party to the Georgia Dome, I can tell you that. Anyway, they couldn't do that. Then they wanted to move the Georgia Tech game, which is the last game of the year, to that game. They couldn't do that. So finally, somehow, they came up with Boise State and Georgia. And I think it's a good thing for Georgia. If Georgia goes over there and rocks their boat, comes out of there with a victory, watch out. If Georgia loses, guess who they got coming up behind them? South Carolina. Rick could be 0-2 before he can sneeze, and then he is in real trouble. So that's that. Yes, sir.
What Boise State had, do you know?
Well, they've got everything. They have had, you know what? They are 61-5 over the last 6 years. You think there's any cheating going on out there? Well, guess what? They're under investigation. They are. Not only the football program, but several of the other sports. Kellen Moore. Kellen Moore is the only senior in that Heisman group that's being touted. Can you believe that? Everybody else is sophomore and junior. You got Landry Jones. And now you mentioned Heisman. I'll just throw some names out. You got Landry Jones from Oklahoma. Pretty good football player. Oklahoma, in most polls, is ranked number 1. We talked about Kellen Moore and Andre Luck from Stanford. Stanford's going to be in that top 10 as well. So those are your, at least as far as I'm concerned, those are 3 pretty good Heisman candidates. But you know how that thing is going to fluctuate as the season goes along, as the team goes along, and if nobody gets injured. So what's LSU going to do? I don't know. And now they're in the top 5 in some polls, but with this situation with the quarterback, I have no idea. LSU's a pretty good football team. Even if they don't have him, they're going to be pretty good. They just got a lot of players down there. Les Miles has done just a terrific job. Don't worry, we got 45 more minutes. And Alabama, all right, Auburn's going to be weak. I'm sorry, Auburn's just going to be a little bit weak this year. They've got Barrett Trotter, who's going to try to take over for Cam Newton, but that's not an easy thing to do. But Auburn has got a lot of things in place. They've had pretty good recruiting. Georgia's had great recruiting too. Georgia probably had maybe the best recruiting year of anybody last year, especially in the SEC and maybe in the top 10. Mississippi State, I'll tell you, boy, you got to love what Mullen's doing down there. He is building a program that, I mean, you know, forever. Mississippi State was a doormat, just a doormat in the Southeastern Conference. Just never did anything much. Now, in the last 10 years, they've done a few things, but overall, in the last 25 or 30 years, not much. Ole Miss, Houston Nutt, one of my favorite people. I love Houston Nutt. He is so energetic. He's like James Franklin at Vanderbilt. He just, is a bug in the water. He just goes like this. But a great coach. And he's just, Ole Miss is not the greatest place in the world to recruit to. You might think it would be with the Grove and all of that, but it really isn't. It doesn't have that tradition that the powerhouses in the in the SEC have. Vanderbilt. All right. Larry Smith going to be the quarterback. That was pretty well determined in the last couple of days. Outside of Stennis, is there a Vanderbilt fan in here? Okay, very good. Well, that's good. So I like James Franklin. Boy, he's a ball of fire. There's no question about that. He came in here from Maryland as the offensive coordinator up there, and I heard rumblings of when they were going to hire this guy. Said, boy, if they can get James Franklin, they may have a diamond in the rough. The problem with James Franklin is, and look what he's already been able to recruit and out-recruit Tennessee and a lot of other people here in the last little while. The only problem with that, when Vanderbilt gets a great coach or a good coach, then, he's gone. Go back to Jerry DiNardo. But did Jerry DiNardo deserve going to LSU? No, but it doesn't matter. They thought he was good enough, and they hired him. Just throwing that out. So there you go. Who did I leave out in the West? Anybody? I think that's pretty well covers the SEC. Let me jump over here to the Titans now.
Arkansas.
Oh, I'm sorry, Arkansas. Bobby Petrino. What a great job since leaving the Falcons. He's done. Of course, he did a great job at Louisville, and he's a proven head coach. No question about that. They got maybe the best receiving core, not only in the SEC, but maybe in the nation. They've just got some great players. So Arkansas, top 10, absolutely, no question about it. They will all be in that mix for the division title on that side of the conference. Anybody got a question about this, or we'll move on to Titans? Yes, sir. This would be Mr. Faison, ladies and gentlemen.
Always wondered why Coach Johnson with Vanderbilt right at seemingly a very untimely time.
It certainly was. Coach Johnson is kind of a unique individual, Joe. Joe, right? Yes, sir. In that he is like, well, I'll think of his name here in a minute. Stennis, who was the basketball coach at Vanderbilt that quit? Who? No, anyway, I think. No. Anyway, I'll come back in a second. You're no help. I'm kidding. Who? No, after him. Yeah, Eddie Fogler. Eddie Fogler. See, Eddie Fogler told all of us in the media he wasn't going to coach much past 45, 46, 47 years old, and he didn't. Of course, he left, Vanderbilt, went to South Carolina. Things didn't work out like he wanted to there. But anyway, it was kind of like that. But Bobby Johnson is just such a solid individual. He is, Mr. Faison. He's a great guy. He and his wife, they never had any children, and I think that's by design. They're just very close and very tight, and he kept also telling certain ones of us in the media he wasn't going to coach forever either. But here's what happened. This is what I've gathered from talking to him and others. He and his wife kept talking about this thing, and it kind of got to the point where it was time to make a decision, and he all of a sudden looked real hard at what he was going to have coming in this year, and he thought, if I'm going to get out, now's really a good time to do it. And so I think they literally made that decision within a 2-day period and then just announced it. So, but I love Bobby Johnson. And look, he may not be done coaching either, but the right thing has to come along for him to stay in coaching. So that's a story on him. Unlike a lot of Vanderbilt coaches in the past that you could sit here and talk about that didn't have quite what he had. All right, Titans. We got any Titans fans in here? Oh man, I think probably most everybody is. Well, let's see. And then, if we have time, I want to say something about John Majors. By the way, John, one of my favorite people in all of the world. Had a great relationship. At my retirement function, and Stennis was there, Coach Majors came and talked and spoke. And he's just such a wonderful man. I know he gave you guys a great talk here. Somebody said he talked about World War II, which is pretty good. That's all right. He can talk about a lot of things. But John Majors I got John Majors' story. So you see, I go all the way back to Bill Battle. Who remembers Bill Battle? And the moving van. Oh, okay. See, hey, best thing ever happened to Bill Battle getting fired, folks. The guy is a multi, how many times can I say multi-millionaire? Boy, that's a great story, too. Anyway, the Titans. Jeff Fisher, you know, I go back to 1997. Now, let me tell you this story. I'm speaking to, maybe it was a Rotary Club. I don't remember who it was. 30 days before this team came. Somebody raised their hand and said, Hope, will Tennessee ever have an NFL franchise? I said, absolutely drop dead not. Ain't going to happen. I said, Memphis will get it before we do. 30 days later, they announced they were coming to town. So what do I know? Now, everything I've said before now, throw it out the window. But in any event, Jeff Fisher, I thought the world of Jeff Fisher, but you know what, folks? You can stay somewhere too long. I didn't want to get in that situation. 40 years in broadcasting, you know what? I like to say, if I may, and I'm not bragging on myself, but I like to think that I walked out somewhere at the top of my game. I wasn't injured. They didn't ask me to leave. I wasn't ill of health. And I think that's what Jeff Fisher did. You get to a point when you just know it's time to go. And for me, 40 years was time to go. My wife told me it was. So for Jeff Fisher, I had been saying for several years that if I were Jeff Fisher, I'd get the hell out of Dodge. I just would. He'd been there long enough, and things begin to get stale and old. You know, you've been one coach and one team for 16 years. Everybody else in the league knows exactly what you're going to do. There's no new wrinkles. You may hire a new offensive coordinator, but some of the guys he's had in there sure couldn't get it done. But in any event, Jeff Fisher's a solid coach, and I can promise you this, you will see him on the sidelines on Sunday afternoon in 2012 coaching for somebody, and it may be Jerry Jones. Jerry Jones tried to hire him 2 years ago, but he's under contract. He couldn't do it. So Jeff will be coaching somewhere. But it got to the point, no, he was not fired. He really wasn't. But it was a meeting of the minds between he and Bud Adams. And Bud Adams, in my opinion, is not a bad guy. They don't like him in Houston because he fired Bum Phillips. Well, every coach is going to get fired at some point. You know, they just didn't happen to agree, and that's one of the reasons he's out of Houston now. But I like Bud. He's getting on up in years, but he's still pretty much hands-on. But Jeff Fisher was a great guy, and he will coach somewhere else next year. Okay, this year, Mike Munchak. Mike Munchak, no nonsense guy from hell. I'm going to tell you right now. It's his way or the highway. There's a lot of that in him, but he's fair, and he's honest, and he's good, and he coaches the game the way he played the game, which was hard-nosed. How are you going to be an offensive guard, be a Hall of Famer, and not be hard-nosed? That's just the way he is. And I think the player, now he's changed a lot of things around. You walk in that locker room today, you don't see any iPads, you don't see any television monitors, you don't hear any boom boxes. It's gone, baby. I want you talking to each other, he said. And before, all the years that I went in the locker room, it was blaring. And they were playing their Game Boys over here, and they were doing this over here, and that's what young people do today. But he says, time out. They never talked to each other in the locker room. They just were sitting there doing whatever they do. Now they're talking to each other, which is good, which I could teach my grandkids. Just talk to me. You know, don't text me. Call me on the phone. I'll talk to you. In any event, so he's taken all of that out, and they're getting back to the basics. Quarterback, we'll start there real quick. All right, I know you guys want to be out here at 1. Quarterback, Matt Hasselbeck. Good, solid quarterback, 10 years in the league from the Seahawks. He will take this team as far as he can take it in the first few games, and then I think the young man's going to take over after that. Jake Locker, great talent. You know, he doesn't have the greatest arm motion in the world. He might not be able to throw the ball the deepest, but he's certainly got it up here. He's a great athlete, and when he moves from tackle to tackle or from end to end, and he has to scramble in the backfield, he does it with a great deal of finesse. He's very smart. He's the quarterback of the future. Wide receiver, offensive line, great, solid offensive line, tackle to tackle. Wide receivers, Kenny Britt gets his butt the way it should go and get out of the bars and quit trying to outrun the police. And here's another kid, you know, that's just kind of all upside down. If you can just get him settled down, get his mind right, as they say, he's going to be a phenomenal athlete. And then you've got Nate Washington, you've got Maurice Williams, you've got Justin Gage. You got a pretty nice receiving corps. Titans have never had great receivers, going all the way back to Big Pen and all of these other guys that they had for a long time. But they're going to be pretty solid. Tight end, Jared Cook, Craig Stevens, two very good tight ends, Armand Hall in the backfield. CJ, well, there's the problem. And if I'm CJ, I'm holding out too. I'm just telling you what, it's true. Did you see what Michael Vick got yesterday, folks? $100 million. 35 million guaranteed. Now, what you need to understand is this. He will never see $100 million. That's because all contracts are back-end loaded. Now, I don't have time, unless you want to stay for another hour, to go into the salary cap, which I certainly don't understand totally. But what those guys, agents, try to do for them when they sign, just like CJ is how much money do I get guaranteed? Well, he's going after $35 million guaranteed. That's what he'd like to have. Vic got $40 million guaranteed with a $100 million contract. See, what happens is they backload that thing, and he'll get his $35 million, and then he'll get maybe $1 million a year or $2 million a year, whatever they're going to pay him. And understand this, a contract in the National Football League is only good for a year. I don't care who you are. They can cut you before training camp starts, anybody, it doesn't matter. Peyton Manning, they can cut. They don't have to pay him. That's just the way the league is, unlike the NBA, unlike Major League Baseball. Not a bad deal. And the players voted for it, so they're all in. So anyway, Vic gets $100 million, and so CJ's asking for 35 up front, and he wants about $13 million a season. And the Titans, I think, want to pay him about 9, certainly no more than 10, so that's kind of where they are. Now, although I understand they're meeting again today, so they now see the urgency, both sides. That's what it always boils down to. Look at the players and the owners in the lockout. They didn't really get that thing done, folks. Nobody thought they would when you got this much time. All right, we'll talk here. We'll talk some more here. We'll talk some more here. Now we get right here. We better get it on. And that's where CJ and the Titans are. So I think perhaps this week they might get something done. And it might be CJ having to take $3 or $4 million less than he wants to. But does he do that or does he sit out? I think the Titans might let him sit out. They got a backfield. It's not the CJ backfield, obviously, but it's not terrible. You know, they've got Jamie Harper back there who's showing up very well. You know, and they've got what's the kid's name? What?
Ringer.
Yeah, Javon Ringer, who's hurt and probably won't play this week. Javon's had a really tough way to go and a fine young man. And so I don't know. I think they may get the thing done with CJ. Defensively, they let Javon Hay go yesterday from Vanderbilt Center, and Javon had put on about 30 pounds because Jerry Gray's the new defensive coordinator. He wants bigger guys. So Javon says, okay, I'll get bigger. He got 35 pounds heavier. Boom. It's a younger guy, and he was owed about $4 million. You see, the money and the age on the back end of those contracts is what gets you out of the league, or at least leaves the team. Nobody stays there. Peyton Manning, now we don't know if he's gonna start Sunday. We don't know what's gonna happen. He doesn't either. He's got the neck problem. He had the surgery, and so you know what? I was gonna say with Peyton Manning playing and a healthy Peyton Manning, it takes 11 games. It takes 11 wins to make the playoffs out of this deal. Now, if Peyton Manning is not there, 9 wins might get you in the playoffs because now everybody else has got a shot. So what else is happening? I know I hadn't gone through the rest of the time. I'm trying to move here quickly. On defense, Titans up front, they got a lot of players. They're all young. Linebackers, you got Witherspoon, you got Akeem Ayers, who they drafted, and you got Gerald McGrath, and then you got McCourty at one corner, you got Altron Werner at another, and you got the 2 safeties who are pretty good, Chris Hope, although Jordan Babineau, who they got in here, is making a real name for himself. He might start in place of Hope. We don't know yet. And Michael Griffin, of course. I was talking about the conference. The conference is weak this year. It really is. It's not a very strong AFC South. And if Peyton's not going to play, boy, that really just ups the ante for everybody else. You got the Titans opening up with Jacksonville. Jacksonville, so-so team. You know, you got David Garrard's going to start, and you got Blaine Gabbard in there at backup quarterback. One of those 2 guys. It's kind of like the situation here with 2 quarterbacks. Houston could be the real surprise. Houston could very easily win the AFC South. Got a lot of weapons. Andre Johnson, Arian Foster from Tennessee. Everybody knows about that. What a great running back he is. Got Mario Williams on the other side over there to anchor that defense. So right now, AFC South, in my opinion, especially with the way Peyton is just really a question mark. Could be anybody. Who's going to win the Super Bowl? That's what you all want to know, isn't it? Put your money on the Packers and the Patriots. Got any questions? And I'm really, it's almost 1 o'clock, so I know I need to quit. So unless you have a question, I will say it has been a pleasure for Mr. Smith and I to be here. Hope you will all listen to Mighty Joe Young's radio stations and especially the other side of sports. A beautiful community. I would love to bring my family down and show them around. Who knows? Maybe I'll just decide to retire here. I don't know. But you see, I'm out of a job, so somebody have to put me to work.
John Merritt story.
Oh my gosh. John Merritt story. John Merritt is coaching against Grambling. They're playing it in the hole. Everybody know what the hole is at TSU? Is that little small field up there. And playing Grambling, and Tennessee State is leading, now stay with me on this, by a score of 10-9. The final seconds are on the clock. They've called timeout. TSU is inside the 5-yard line, but they're going to try to score. Time back in, give the ball to the running back. He's hit, and guess what? He fumbles the ball, goes up. Grambling guy, secondary guy catches it, and he is headed to the house. All of a sudden, Big John Merritt looks out there and sees what's happening. Then he turns to the guy in the PA upstairs and points. The guy says, "Do I see a flag?" Now the guy's at the 50-yard line, and he is just chugging it. John is sitting here chomping. He turns around and shakes his fist. The guy says, "I said, do I see a flag?" Now he's at the 5-yard line. John does this, gives it to him like this, and he said, "I say, Mr. Ref, do I see a flag?" Ref pulls the flag out, throws it. Right there, the game is over. He said he stepped out of the 1-yard line. That's I don't know how true it is, but it's a good story. Ladies and gentlemen, I have thoroughly enjoyed it. I hope you'll have me come back again next year. You know why? Because I'm writing a book. And then I'll bring my book, and you each can buy it for $25. Thank you.
Hello everyone, and welcome to the Fayetteville Lincoln County Public Library. We're here tonight as Friends of the Library. We are raising money at a fundraiser for to pay off the debt here. So we have invited about 200 people. We've sold tickets and we've raised a considerable amount of money which will be applied toward the debt. You can see that we're having a very good time, and we're going to invite you on a tour of the library. Later in the evening as well, Leadership Lincoln, I'm the president of the current class of 2011, will be doing a dedication ceremony for the new children's library which we have added here. So we hope you enjoy the library, and we invite you to come back anytime.
And it's been a great time by all, and we really appreciate you coming, and we hope you come again next year. I'd like to turn it over to Perry Hall, who is president of the Lincoln Leadership Class of 2011. Perry?
Thanks, Emily. For the past year, Leadership Lincoln has been actively involved in the library. We chose as our project to buy and furnish computers, multiple resources, and some books for a children's learning center. And so tonight we wanted to dedicate the Children's Learning Center to the library to show our appreciation to everyone who is here for all of their support. Kathy, I have this dedication plaque that reads, "The Leadership Lincoln Class of 2011 dedicates this learning center to the Fayetteville Lincoln County Public Library to enhance our children, to encourage our children for a lifelong passion for knowledge, culture, and individual expression." And we also have a plaque of everyone who donated to the cause. We had such a warm, welcoming, and overwhelming commitment to the library from the community. And this will be posted on the wall as well. So all of you who donated, please come by, see the Children's Learning Center, and please take note of everyone who contributed to this cause. Well, thank you everyone, and we have the silent auction here, so please review the bids and contribute there. All of the money is going to Friends of the Library, which in turn will be to support the debt and the payment of that. So thank you all very much.
Hello everybody, I'm Don Counts. Welcome into Fayetteville Public Utilities Channel 6. And today we've got two lovely guests from Lincoln County High School. And your shirts say you are with FCCLA. And we appreciate y'all coming because that's a good organization for our community, for the high school and for schools. And we want to talk to these ladies about that. First of all, we have Shana Womack right here, and we have Holly Durham right here. And we appreciate y'all coming by because, you know, these ladies are very nervous and there's nothing to absolutely be nervous about. See, they got pretty smiles and we're ready to go. Shana, let's first off talk to you. Tell everybody, who is Shana Womack?
Okay. My name is Shana Womack. I am with the Lincoln County chapter of FCCLA at Lincoln County High School, and I am in the 11th grade.
Okay, so before the 11th grade, you were in the 10th grade. Before that, you were in some junior high. Where was that?
I went to, well, first I went to Hines Elementary, and then for 9th grade, I attended the 9th grade academy.
Okay, very good. All right, Miss Holly Durham, tell us a little bit about Holly Durham.
I'm Holly Durham. I'm a junior at Lincoln County High School. I'm in FCCLA, and I play basketball for the high school. And I went to Highland Rim my whole life.
Very good. So y'all both from the Park City area?
Yes, sir.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So you like basketball? So you played before, I guess?
Mm-hmm. Played my whole life.
All right. Well, what position do you play?
Post.
Post. Well, you tall.
Yeah.
You're going to do well.
Thank you.
Looking forward to the basketball season coming up. Y'all already starting to work on that?
Mm-hmm. We actually did pretty good in the camps this year.
Very good. Well, Holly, we're looking forward to seeing you on the basketball court. And y'all are both juniors?
Yes, sir.
Very good. All right. Let's talk a little bit about FCCLA. Let's just tell everybody at home, what is FCCLA? What does it mean?
FCCLA is Family and Career Community Leaders of America. It's a student organization mainly focusing on family life.
Very good. Sort of like when Chuck and I were going to school, I believe it was like a homemakers club. Is that correct? You know? No? No? Maybe not. Anyway, it don't really matter. Anyway, that sounds like a good group. What got you involved in it? What made you decide you wanted to be in FCCLA?
Well, I like families. I like helping families. Whenever I get older, I want to help families.
Mm-hmm.
I would like to be a family lawyer, specializing in children's psychology, because I like helping people. I mean, it's either that or I want to do something in families, helping children, anything to do with families.
Very good. And family is a very, very important part of our community and our nation and our country and our world, actually. Holly, what got you involved in FCCLA?
Miss Thomas giving us information about it because I want to be a social worker when I'm older, and I just thought it'd be a good place to go.
Very good. Let's talk a little bit about some of the things that you learn at FCCLA. What have you been doing so far? I know school hasn't been going on that long. Were y'all in it last year, or how do you get involved in this?
You have to be in a family consumer class.
Okay, so it's like a class, and then it's a sort of like FFA to some extent, or not?
Well,
No.
it is. Well, I mean, it's like FFA, except it's family and consumer classes. Like we have child development and family and parenting classes, and then we have foods and nutritions and interior design.
Gotcha.
It's basically about the families living.
Very good. Were y'all in this last year as well? This is the first year.
This is my first year.
Okay, let's talk about some of the things that some of the things. Let's see if we can go through all your advisors. Now, I'll let you tell the advisors, and ones you miss, I will cover up for you. Okay.
Okay. Well, for my teacher, we have Miss Renee Thomas.
Who's in the house today?
Right.
All right.
We have Miss Denise
Nunley.
Nunley.
Very good.
Miss
Janet Gray.
Miss Janet Gray. Miss Murdoch.
Miss Murdoch. Miss Jennifer Murdoch on that one.
I'm sorry.
That's all right. You're good. You're good.
And Miss Wanda Williams.
Very good. All right. Some of the activities that y'all have done. Maybe you can tell me some of the things y'all done. You must have had to do them over the summer.
We went to Point Mallard, but that's about the only thing we've
That was
done
good.
so far, yeah.
Point Mallard's fun.
We went to that last Saturday.
Very good. And you got some things coming up as well.
Yes, sir.
Let's talk about that.
Well, we're doing our group for our class. We're doing a parents' night out. Parents are going to bring their children to the Lincoln County Gym, and we're basically going to watch their children. It's from ages 4 years old to 4th grade, and we're going to watch them on a Friday night, September 16th, from 4:30 to 9 o'clock. They are going to pay, for the first child, it's going to be $15. Second child, it drops down to $10. And then from the third child, so on, it's going to be $5 per child.
Wow, that's a cheap night for the parents. So you're saying that the parents can have date night or something?
That's basically what it is.
Wow. Well, that's a great thing. I mean, you know how many parents out there who would just love to have a night away, but it's hard to do. So this is also a learning experience and maybe somewhat of a fundraiser for you guys?
Well, out of all the proceeds, we're donating it to Ronald McDonald House.
Oh, very good.
We're getting donations from Walmart, we've asked for donations from Gerald's and Dollar General.
How many kids can y'all handle? Because, it is fair weekend, so you could have a ton of people over there.
Well, we have about 15 students volunteering to watch the kids. We are thinking about having 50 kids.
Very good. It's going to be a good fundraiser too. So when you're talking about families and raising children and actually babysitting of some sort, there's a full career out there in that too. So is this what that kind of you learn how to do that kind of thing in FCCLA?
Yes, sir. Well, our child development class is about basically from learning from children, from infants, and so on. We're going through a project where we have to take a real life baby doll. Basically, it cries, it needs what a real baby needs, and we have to take it home for a weekend. It wakes you up in the middle of the night, it needs diaper changes, it has to eat, it gets fussy, it has to be burped. So it teaches us what it's like to have a real infant.
That's a rude awakening in the middle of the night. But that's a good thing, though. Very good. And do everybody get to take this home, or just you, or just different ones, or what?
Everyone in the class gets to take it home.
Wow. So we're talking about raising children, and what other, you learn household things too, Holly? Like,
We learned safety the other week.
okay, safety in terms of,
Tornadoes, what to do during fires, things like that.
that's very good information. Every home needs to have an escape plan and that kind of thing, not just if you just have kids, you just
It's
never know.
basically teaching students about life when you're older. That's what it's preparing you for.
So what other household things? We've talked about, I mean, you learning how to iron, wash clothes, and those kind of things, or no? Am I off base?
Well, it's more like what you're going to need to know whenever you get older. It's preparing you for the real world. As teenagers, you don't really realize what you're going to be put up against. You don't realize what it's like to have a child or what it's like to actually be an adult. And it basically teaches you what you're going to need to be prepared for. That you don't think that it's just going to be a glamorous life where everything's handed to you. You need to be prepared for it.
Yeah, it's not all glamour all the time for sure. Sometimes it's an awakening, and you know, it takes a lot of you just have to be dependable to be able to handle all that. So that is very interesting and dedicated to those kind of things. You know, you just can't just turn the baby off or push it away. So looking forward to y'all's opportunity of having parents night out. Is that what it's
Yes, sir.
called? Wow, well that's very good. And what's the date on that again?
September 16th.
September 16th. I believe that's the week of the fair.
So last Saturday,
yeah.
or last Friday.
Last Friday, yeah. Maybe they can go to the Falcon game. They can do a lot of things.
Well, the Falcon game is away.
Is it away? Well, they can still go. What time do they have to be back?
9 o'clock.
No, 9 o'clock, so they would have to stay close. Man, it's all right. Well, they can go out and eat here locally and do a lot of things. Well, is there something else that we haven't talked about?
Well, another group in our class is having a sock hop for the Donaldson Skill Home.
Okay, now tell everybody what a sock hop is.
It's basically a dance for the elderly from the nursing home.
Oh,
So they get to relive their childhood moments for prom and dances that they don't get to normally do now.
wow, that is a neat idea. So they're going to be playing some 40s and 50s music, maybe?
Maybe.
Maybe some waltzing and some of the old stuff, and that's going to happen at the nursing home, I guess.
Yes, sir.
Very good. And what's the date on that, you know?
I'm not sure.
That's just coming
I
up.
think
this-
it's the 17th, September 17th.
Is it on my sheet? I don't think it is. Is it?
I'm
Yeah.
pretty
Oh,
sure
yeah, it
it's
is. Yeah,
September
September 17th. Very good. And that's at Donaldson Assisted Living. Yeah, that is very good. And then again, Parents Night Out is on September the 16th at Lincoln County High School. And y'all are going to have a leadership conference on September the 20th at Murfreesboro. And do y'all do anything at the fair? I think I see some of you guys down at the fair. No?
I'm not
This year?
sure.
Not sure. Okay. Well, that's good. Let's talk about now. You have the shirt on. It says the place to be. And I'm not sure. Is that y'all's slogan?
I think it's just something we came up with one year.
So everybody wearing the shirts?
We are.
Oh, y'all are. About how many people are in FCCLA?
Well, see, there's about four of each teacher.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, there's many classes,
Sure.
and each class you're automatically in FCCLA. Once you pay your dues, then it goes for state and national.
Mm-hmm.
So there's, as long as you're taking an FCCLA class
Mm-hmm.
or a family and consumer class, you are in FCCLA, but you don't get to basically. You get to do some of the things,
Mhm.
but it's not like if you pay your dues.
I understand. So y'all both are juniors. So will you be in FCCLA next year or not?
I plan on it.
Oh, good. Very good. So since Holly's playing basketball, do you do any extracurricular activities
Well, I play softball for the county or
Oh.
city.
for the city? Very good. Well, we wish y'all luck with basketball, softball, and FCCLA this year. We appreciate y'all coming and letting people know about FCCLA, and I'm looking forward to the year, and very excited about y'all taking the time to come by and talk to us, because a lot of people don't know about FCCLA, and it's very important to get out the word what you're doing. And once again, you're having the Parents Night Out on September the 16th at Lincoln County High School. I may run through those prices again. It's $15 for the first child.
$10 for the second, and $5 for the third, and so on.
Okay.
So if you have 6 kids, it's still going to be $5 for the third through the 6th.
And if anybody's got 6 kids, they wish they were in FCCLA to learn all about it. Holly, we've had Holly Durham here and Shayna Womack. We appreciate y'all coming by, and y'all had a good year so far.
Yes, sir.
School's starting off good.
And we plan on having a lot more stuff to do.
Well, you just need to make sure you keep us informed here. We'll get the word out to the public, and we appreciate y'all coming by after school today, and thank you very much.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
We appreciate you watching here on Fayetteville Public Utilities Channel 6 and learning all about FCCLA at Lincoln County High School. And we also appreciate Miss Renee Thomas for getting them by here today, and we appreciate that very much. I'm Don Counts. We'll see you back in here next time on Fayetteville Public Utilities Channel 6.
In 1980, our parents' homes averaged 3 electronic devices.
Today, that number is closer to 25.
Modifying your energy usage can lower your power bill.
If your appliances are older than me,
It's costing you.
10-year-old refrigerators use about 40% more energy than new Energy Star rated ones.
These Energy Star windows save you energy too.
They keep the heat and cold out without reducing the visible light.
Have questions?
Contact your local power company.
Hi, this is Kent Gallion with the Boy Scouts of America representing the Elks Scouting Adventure Day. This is the 7th annual event of its kind here at the Stonebridge Park. It was the memorial event of the Stonebridge Park when it was first opened. The Boy Scouts and the city, the county, and the Elks have had a huge relationship over the years. We just want to prove to you that scouting is alive and well in Lincoln County. We have a lot of activities scheduled for today, and we're going to start with our opening ceremony. Presenting our colors today is Troop 461 out of Park City, Tennessee. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you for coming out today for the Elk Scouting Adventure Day. This is our 11th annual event. We were the inaugural event at this park. I want everybody to enjoy the day. We've got packs that are going to be doing some activities. We're going to have troops that are going to be doing some pioneering projects, maybe a little cooking demonstration. And the Elks will also be here to sponsor this event by cooking everyone something to eat between 12 and 1 o'clock this afternoon. Enjoy the day. Yeah, we're here with Pack 462. They meet at Highland Rim Elementary School. Hey guys, what do y'all do in your pack?
We have fun.
You have fun. That's the whole idea of scouting, is have fun. But you learn things too, don't you?
Yes.
What kind of things have you learned?
Making paper airplanes.
Paper airplanes. What have you learned?
Eventually the same thing as him, paper airplanes.
And what about you?
Same thing as they have.
What kind of fun things have you done besides make paper airplanes? You went on any kind of outings or events?
No.
Not yet. Y'all are just new though. You're just getting started. And this is?
I'm Amy Limer.
And you are the?
I'm the Cub Master of 462.
Cub Master of 462. Now, if have a young person out in the South Lincoln County that's interested in being in Cub Scouting, when, where, how do they get in contact with you? All that kind of information.
We meet Monday nights at 6:30 at Highland Rim Cafeteria.
Okay, and is there a way they can get hold of you?
Yes, they can call me. My number is 438-1621.
Okay, great. And all they'd have to do is either show up or give you a call, and you can take care of the rest. And as you see, they all have fun. Give me a cheer, guys. You know a cheer?
Go Cub Scouts.
All right. Here we are with Pack 88. Look what they're doing. Interesting. Excuse me, young scout. What is it that you're doing?
We're making bird feeders out of peanut butter and pine cones.
Peanut butter? Oh, that smells almost good enough for me to eat. How long have you been doing this?
3 years.
3 years. 3 years. And I guess you've had good results with it, huh?
Yes, we have.
You get a lot of nice singing birds and pretty birds come around your house where you've got the feeders at?
Yeah.
And how long have you been doing it, young man?
I can't remember.
Can't remember. Boy, I'm telling you, he's been doing it so long, he loves it. This is great. And it looks like that you dip it in the bird seed after that, and that gives them something to eat as well as the peanut butter?
Yes, sir.
Oh, now let's talk to our, you're the Cub Master, right? And your name is?
Tony Gill.
And where do you all meet, and how would someone get in contact with you if they wanted to be part of your pack?
Our main source, kids come from Unity School, and they could go there and ask to be signed up.
Okay. Is there any way they could personally get hold of you?
Yes, sir. They can call me at my house, 732-4546, and I'd be more to help them.
Excellent, excellent. Like I say, it's so easy to sign up for Scouts. Scouting is 365 days a year. There's not a sign-up day. You can sign up at any time. Sooner the better. Here I am with Troop 461. Now, Troop 461 is a troop that has a real special place in my heart. I was Scoutmaster of this troop for 10 years. They meet out in Park City at Maranatha Baptist Church. Now, as a Scoutmaster, tell us a little bit about who you are, where you meet, that type of thing.
Like you said, we meet at Maranatha Baptist Church in Park City every Monday night, 6:30. We usually get out about 8 o'clock. We're a very active troop in regards to we're high adventure. We like to get out, take a lot of hikes, Smokies, Savage Gulf, and we usually do an activity about once a month.
Once a month. And what's your name and how can I get hold of you?
I'm Fred Alcorn. I'm the Scoutmaster, have been for about a year. And phone number, 425-6878. Or you can meet us at Monday night at the church during a meeting.
Okay, and what type of service projects do you all do for the community?
Several. We've litter pickup on the highways. We get involved with other troops and their service projects, and then other troops help us with our service projects. Community efforts, organizations that we'll get involved with and get connected with them and help them out. And each boy, you know, has their own service project that they do to become an Eagle, and they got to do so many service hours. And so I let the boys manage that and let them pick their own service projects and get connected with the community, and it's community based.
And what about fundraising? How do you do your fundraising?
Our main fundraiser is the Lincoln County Fair, and we during the fair we sell the chairs for $3 a chair for the activities that's going on. And this year we'll be selling the programs for the harness races. Other fundraiser that we've done this year is we sell a product called Better Braid, which is a pastry, and actually for the first time that was very successful, so we'll probably be doing that again.
Yeah, I see a bunch on the national level of different creative ideas that they're offering for troops now to raise money rather than the traditional thing. We know the Girl Scouts buy their cookies. We started to know the Boy Scouts buy their popcorn, but they've really expanded into a lot of other things besides popcorn. Somebody else that's probably a little special to me is one of the assistant scoutmasters, Mr. Darrell Gray. Darrell, his younger brother was becoming Eagle when I became Scoutmaster. Now, that's been a long time ago, hasn't it?
A few years.
A few years. Now, do you remember the fond times you had in Troop 461 as a kid?
Absolutely. Back in mid-'80s, we would go to Boxwell. We went to Philmont, go spring, winter, summer camporees. Just a really, really fun time in Boy Scouts.
Local things like Wells Hill Park.
Wells Hill Park. We do service projects down there. We've done several down there. The Cub Scouts go there and clean up once a year.
Yeah, I know my son, as well as two others, while I was Scoutmaster, used Wells Hill as their Eagle Scout project area to do their project. My son's was a mile and a half a trail back, nature trail back to the waterfall. J.C. Anderson's was also in there, and I believe his younger brother Tommy did chairs or seating along the pathway. So 461 has always been, since its inception, a very active troop and the crown of Lincoln County. So I want to congratulate you guys for a job well done. Can you show me your senior patrol leader? I want to see what it's like on the youth end.
Let's see. Let me find him here. He's, well, I don't see him.
He might be playing volleyball.
Yeah. He's in the park. Actually, the senior patrol leader is my son this year. The assistant senior patrol leader's over here in the purple holding the little boy, Travis Smith. Now, we're about to have elections. We have them twice a year, and our next election will be in September. For a new senior patrol leader and assistant, and then the patrol leaders.
Yes, because all your upper ranks require 6 months of a position of responsibility, so you have to do the rotation. That's good. So all the kids learn leadership as well as skills to be able to survive, to become a good citizen, and to help their community. So keep up the good work, guys.
Thank you very much, Ken.
I'm here with Larry Phelps. Larry, he has been so generous over the past 11 years to run our hayride for our youth that show up, both scouting and the visitors. Larry, why do you just keep coming back?
I just enjoy being around the kids, that's all.
That's me too. That's what scouting's all about, isn't it? Having fun. It goes everywhere from the littlest Cub Scout all the way up to us adults. It's having fun.
That's for sure.
Well,
that is for sure. It's what it's all about.
That's exactly what it's all about. Between you and Angela, I don't know what we would have done to have made this a much more successful event. Thank you so much for all your help.
Sure. Anytime.
Thank you. Now, I just got through talking to Larry, and we were just talking about his wonderful wife. Angela, without you, I don't know how we would have been able to put this thing on. We have done it for so many years now, 11 years. 11 years.
11 years, yes.
And I know you don't like being on camera, and I know you're over here instructing on how to put the proper patches on the uniform. Yes. And so you're just spreading scouting all over the place, and I want to thank you. Lincoln County wants to thank you.
Thank you. It's a passion, so.
Thank you. Hi, what is your name? And what troop are you with?
I am Brett Phelps, and I'm with 489.
Where do y'all meet?
In the church at Huey.
At the church at Huey. So you're in the west end of the county.
Yes, sir.
All right. If so, you're setting up a game here, I see.
Yes, sir.
What do you call this game?
Redneck golf.
Redneck golf. That's interesting. You're in the good. Hey, you're in the right place for it. You're in the right place for it. What type of things does your troop do?
Well, we go camping, and we also go fishing and hiking, and we also help the younger kids if they need help, and that's about it.
What about community service in the community besides doing something like this today?
We help with like picking up trash, and we help other people if they need it. Yeah.
Well, who's your scoutmaster?
Angela Phelps.
Angela Phelps. We just got through talking to her. Nice lady. I've known her for a long time. She's a great scouter.
She's my aunt.
She's your aunt. Well, she ought to feel really special to have you in her troop. And I'm with
Lane.
And you're with troop?
One second. I'm with his Mr. Brett Phelps troop.
Mr. Brett Phelps troop.
He's the senior patrol leader now.
Oh, he's the senior patrol leader. Yeah. Now, see, there's a young man that knows how the troop's supposed to operate. The youth run the troop. So your senior patrol leader is your main man, right?
Yes, sir.
All right. So you take orders directly through or from your senior patrol leader.
Yes, sir.
And where do y'all meet?
We meet up at the Macberg Church.
And what time and what day do you meet?
Every Monday at about 6:30.
Okay. If somebody wanted to be in that area that wanted to be involved in your troop, can they give your scoutmaster a call?
Yeah, I think they could.
You wouldn't have to know his phone number, would you?
No, and it's actually a she.
Oh, it's a she. So you're talking about Angela Phelps, right?
Yes,
okay. Sir. Yeah, I think most people in Lincoln County know who she is. They can get hold of her. If not, we'll talk to somebody here in just a little bit to give them an 800 number so they can call Nashville too. So there's more than one way to sign up for Scouts. Do you have fun in Scouts?
Yes, sir, I do.
And what type of things do you do to have fun?
Well, normally we go through the trailer. That's my job.
Oh, you have to coordinate and organize everything for the events.
Yes, sir.
What type of events do you do?
Well, sometimes we'll make a swing like the other troop did, but normally we make giant teepees and stuff like that.
Oh, that sounds really, really cool. What kind of stuff do you do for your community?
We picked up trash along the road a couple times, and we also help with this right here, and that's the community right there. So
exactly, that's showing the community that Scouts is alive and well in Lincoln County, and that we're striving. But we want more people involved so that we get to do even more fun things, don't we?
Yeah, I'd love a lot more kids to do this. It's fun. You get to go out and camping and get to meet some stuff that you wouldn't normally meet out in the wild.
That's right. You get to learn things that people don't know nowadays. Now, in the 30s, when we had the Great Depression, a lot of people had to live off the land. A lot of people today don't know that, but Scouts do, don't we?
Yes, we do, sir.
Very good. Well, thank you so much, and keep up the... What is it exactly you're doing here?
This is a game called croquet.
Okay.
And what you're actually trying to do is you're trying to get all the way, you have to get through these and around, and you have to go through every single one of them pegs, and you have to aim for that one at the very end, and if you hit it, you win.
Oh.
Before somebody else does.
So you have somebody working from both ends at the same time?
No, actually, you both start on the same end.
Oh, okay, okay. So both of you start at the same time. You just take turns, kind of like a pool or something like that.
Yeah.
Okay, that sounds neat. Keep up the good work. Thank you. And have fun.
Yes.
I'm here with Mac Kidd, the exalted ruler of the Benevolent and Protective Order of the Elks, Lodge number 1792 out of Fayetteville, Tennessee, our sponsors for today. This is the 11th annual Scouting Adventure Day, and I want Mac to kind of give us a little rundown of what all the Elks do and what all they do for the community, and, of course, what all they do for scouting.
Well, we're a benevolent, protective organization. It's, we do a lot of charity work in and around the county and the state. We work with a lot of kids during Christmas time, the Boy Scouts here, school systems, whatever we can do to help out in the county.
I know you do the veterans twice a year in Murfreesboro. You feed those, not only the doctors and the patients, but even the people over in the nursing home. You had a golf tournament here locally recently. You do quite a number of things to raise money, but you have a lot of community charity work that money goes to as well. Is that not correct?
That's very true. We make 2 trips to the VA in Murfreesboro each year, feed several hundred people each time we go between staff and patients. We do have a golf tournament that we just recently completed that turned out really good. The Harold Carey Memorial Golf Tournament's held each year at Fox Run. It is the money for that charity also goes to the veterans. So yes, we do quite a bit of charity work in the county.
When I joined the Elks as a scout, that happened to be a perfect fit for me because our morals and our beliefs are exactly the same. We're all about the youth, and we're all about the veterans. So you guys have done a great job over the years. I see you're getting ready to fire up the grills so that everybody can eat about noon, and
Yes,
we appreciate everybody that came out to help for the Elks, and as always.
Yes, sir. We'll be feeding around 12.
That's great. Thank you so much, Mac. I do appreciate it.
Glad to be here.
Glad for you to be here.
Thank you.
Here I am with Joseph Stedman. He is our district executive, the actual paid person for the Boy Scouts for the David Crockett District, which includes Lincoln County, Giles County, Lawrence County, and Wayne County. Joseph, tell us a little bit about what all scouting is doing down here, and then give us some contact information and that type of thing in case someone wants to be involved in scouting.
Well, right now we're in the middle of our Cub Scout recruiting season, and it's always the busiest time of year for us, and we're also focusing on recruiting Boy Scouts. Cub Scouts are boys from the 1st through 5th grades, and then Boy Scouts are 6th through 12th. So if you're interested in joining any of those programs, feel free to give me a call. My number is 931-478-6611, or you can go to the council website, mtcbsa.org, and get more information about specific units in your area.
Do they still have the 1-800 number up there as well?
There is a 1-800 number, but I'm not completely familiar with the 1-800 number. I can tell you the 615-383-9724 is the Scout office in Nashville.
That's the direct line to our council, which services 38 counties of Middle Tennessee and is one of the premier councils around the nation. We're lucky to have Joseph as our district executive. He has really helped build this district. It's always in need of building, and the youth are always in need of the type of things that scouting can offer them that no other program can. Joseph, tell me a little about your scouting history. I see you got an Eagle Scout knot on your uniform.
That's right. I was actually recruited in 1st grade to be in the Cub Scouts, and through a boy talk at my school, and I'm still in it today, I guess. I'm an Eagle Scout and from Mississippi. So I'm very proud of my scouting background and try to influence other youth in the area to achieve the rank of Eagle.
Well, thank you very much. I'm a proud father of an Eagle Scout son that is 30 32, and a Gold Award recipient Girl Scout daughter is 33. And people ask me, Kent, why in the world are you still in scouting? I said, you know, I found that this is an organization that's unlike any other in the world, let alone just our country. The best youth organization, the best character building organization there is in the country for youth today. One program we didn't talk about scouting is one that also is a deep passion to me, is the venturing program. And venturing is 14 to 21, and that's co-educational, that's boys and girls. I manage an area over Georgia and Alabama, advising the area president for venturing, and to see the Winterfest that goes on up in Gatlinburg every winter just blows your mind. You've got Explorer Scouts and you've got Venture Scouts, which are both 14 to 21. The difference between that is that the Explorers are more career oriented and your Ventures are more high activity. They can be run in several different ways. They get to do so many neat things. They're eligible to use all of the Boy Scout properties, both our local properties such as Grimes Canoe Base and Boxville Reservation, but also our high adventure bases such as Philmont in New Mexico, Sea Base in the Florida Keys, and of course our new property, the Summit up in West Virginia, where we're going to have our inaugural event in 2013 of the National Jamboree. This has been a wonderful day out here at the park. People are going to be eating here in a little bit. More and more people just keep showing up. We're glad to have the Elks sponsor this for 11 years. We're glad to have the Boy Scouts of America as our partner. We want to also thank all of those troops that came out today, all of those Cub Scout packs that came out today, the families that are coming here that are interested in scouting, and those that are just coming to have a good time today. But again, most of all, we want to thank the Boy Scouts of America and the Benevolent and Protective Order of the Elks, Lodge 1792 here in Fayetteville, Tennessee. It's a great day to be out in Lincoln County.
Fayetteville Public Utilities reminds you to be careful connecting garden hoses and other water supply attachments. When water flows backwards through the water supply system, it is called back siphonage or backflow. When that water is accidentally mixed with hazardous chemicals or bacteria, it's called dangerous. The danger comes when a hose is connected to a harmful substance. This can happen when you place a water hose into a swimming pool or when you attach a garden sprayer to your water supply. We encourage you to install prevention devices to protect your drinking water supply.
He no longer jumps and jives, cutting the rug's been set aside. LOL, he's on his Dell. It's Google, the Googling geezer. He can Twitter, he can tweet, he's on Facebook, ain't that sweet? FYI, ain't that fine? You can get him anytime, just Google the Googling geezer. Ain't no better time to be alive. He's online and he's doing fine. Anytime, anywhere, and any place, you'll find him.
Hello everybody, I'm Don Counts. Welcome into Fayetteville Public Utilities Channel 6, and today we're going to talk about the 107th Lincoln County Fair, and we have Jimmy and Mary Carter, and we'll start with you, Jimmy. Welcome, y'all appreciate y'all coming, and looking forward to the fair, and a lot of people in Fayetteville Lincoln County always looking forward to the fair. What's y'all's position at the fair this year?
I'm the president of the fair, and Mary is our secretary.
Oh, good.
Clayton Wilson is our vice president. Deanna Long is our treasurer. Have a fantastic group.
Good.
We've done it long enough. It's kind of easy, but
you done it the whole 107 years?
Well, I feel like it. I'll be honest with you. I've done it. I've been involved probably 25 years.
Wow.
Yeah, but have a good group. I'll say to start with, we have 3 different boards. We've got the voting board, auxiliary board, and a volunteer board, and then other volunteers, and could not be put on without them. A good group of people, hard-working. They all know their jobs. It makes it easy for all of us. But our 107th fair, and we're excited about it.
It's a busy week for you too.
Right, absolutely, yeah. It kind of cuts into what we do for a living, but we enjoy it. You wouldn't do it if you didn't enjoy it, you know. So
That's
it's
true.
Good, yeah.
A lot going on this year at the fair, and we're going to talk about all those things, but one of the big things that the people start working on now, the UT Extension guys, David Qualls and all his crew down there with all the 4-H exhibit building. That's a big deal for our community.
It is, and actually they're having a work day today, Tuesday.
Oh, wow.
We've got Dan Owens, Darrell Hale, and David Qualls. All 3 are on the fair board.
Wow.
And Lincoln County is fortunate to have such a strong 4-H and ag group. And I might have left out somebody, but we do have a good group, and they work hard, and that's what fairs are all about.
Oh yeah.
You know, livestock and exhibits, and we're fortunate to have a good show there.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff there, and it'd take all week almost to look at every single one of them. It's just amazing, but that's a good thing, though. It's good for our community.
Yeah, it is. It is. We've been involved long enough that we've traveled and seen a lot of other fairs, and we have one of the premier fairs in Lincoln County, which is obvious. And last year we won. What was the title, Mary?
Champion of
Champions.
In the state of Tennessee.
And in 107 years, Lincoln County's only got that 3 times.
Wow. And
last year was one of them. We were excited about that, and it takes a good group to bring something like that home.
It was a very good year last year, and this year is going to be just as good. And I love the books. You got 2 different kind of books, Mary. Tell us what the difference in the 2 books are.
We have 2 catalogs this year. As you can see, we have a smaller digest version for competitors. So folks that want to enter things in the fair, animal exhibits and produce, and all the things that go in the Creative Living building, formerly called the Women's Building. It's not just for women, but the artwork and the vegetables and cooking, and all of the forms you need to fill out to enter things are in one little convenient book. And of course, in the very front of this book is also the schedule of events for the whole week of the fair. But there's no advertising or other things in this. It's just for the folks who need. And where you need to pick this up is at the Extension office. Extension office has these little books and the forms. And then of course we have our regular larger catalog that's going to be all over town in local banks and other businesses, where you can pick those up, and it has the week of entertainment.
Like this one here.
Yes, sir.
You can get that in just about everywhere.
Has the same cover, but the competitors' catalog is a smaller, more compact version.
The cover says, "Sow it, grow it, and show it." That's pretty. That the title this year?
That's our theme.
That's our theme of the year.
Our catalog committee comes up with a theme every year, and they did this, and that's Ruthie Jeans, Mary, Darrell Hale, Patty Patrick, and
Brienne,
Bigham, and
Anna Catherine Cooley.
Anna Catherine, yeah, another good group. But
and David Qualls.
But they're already working on the theme for the next year's fair. I mean, they put a whole lot of thought into it. And I'll add too that Darrell Hale and Deanna Long are responsible for the new catalog, and it's actually saved the fair some money and cut down on the pages on the bigger catalog and satisfied the competitors also.
Very good. And is that y'all's sign on the corner of the bypasses?
It is. That sign was acquired through some grant money through ag enhancement through the state of Tennessee, and we purchased it I think 3 years ago, maybe 4. But we use it the week prior, 2 weeks prior to the fair, and the week of the fair for the sponsors on the fairground. So it is ours, and want everybody to look at it. Don't spend much time at the red light. You don't get a ticket, but just drive by several times.
Well, all you got to do, you're going to get stopped at that light, so you got time to look. So the fair is coming up September the 10th through the 17th, and that's going to be here before you know it. And we want to talk about all the things that's going to be going on at the fair. And people are asking me now, who is the big stars coming this year? So Mary, you want to help me out with that?
Certainly. Well, we're fortunate this year to have on our first Saturday night a new up-and-coming duo in country music called Steel Magnolia. And they are going to be performing at 8 o'clock on Saturday night the 10th. And they consist of Josh Jones and Megan Lindsay, who got their start in Nashville on the Can You Duet show. So, and they have a recording contract now, and they have several songs out released, and very good songs. So they're high energy and just really have a good sound.
Very good.
And we're fortunate also to have our Lincoln County idol, Rebecca Bailey, will be opening for them. She just won the competition this Saturday, I believe.
She did a great job too, so she's going to do well.
So she'll be opening for Steel Magnolia on Saturday night the 10th.
Very good.
So, and then Sunday, then the next day, we have always quarter horse racing, pony and mule racing. That's going on all afternoon, starting at 1:30. There'll also be some performers that we've had before, been a few years, but ISOP, which is a country kind of western group that will be performing in between the quarter horse races. And ISOP stands for Illegitimate Sons of the Pioneers. So,
well, Jerry Mansfield's already called about making sure that I'm there that day because it's September the 11th. So
exactly
he's
right.
got a lot of things in mind. I guess him and maybe Bill Newman will be doing some doing some of the emceeing, and and that's always a very traditional part of the Lincoln County Fair, quarter horse racing, and also the mule show. I don't know if that's on here or not, but I think he talked about some.
Yeah.
Is that the same?
Well, we have a mule race.
Mule race.
Yeah,
okay.
but we'll have the mule show. I think it's the last Saturday of the fair.
Oh, is it the last
Saturday? The mule show,
Gotcha.
and Jerry's also in charge of that. He's been there about as long as we've been there, so he's very instrumental. And he and Bill Newman put a show on, and I'm sure this year will be no exception. Might add too that also on Sunday afternoon we've got a young boy that's playing the guitar. I mean the banjo.
Right.
Oh.
Yeah, R.T. Williams,
Williams.
and we're really excited about him. We think he's really another Charlie Daniels.
Where'd you find him?
Jerry Mansfield.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he monitors that kind of stuff, and he got him for us, so we're excited about him. They'll put a show on between the races, and that's always the first big day of the fair after the concert. So we're excited about it.
Very good. So R.T. Williams, and that's going to be on Sunday afternoon, September the 11th. So. So we're still doing quarter horse racing and mule and pony races and miniature horse racing that day. So that's going to be a cool thing. And one of the key things is people can get some riding done, get some of the rides and all that done.
Right.
Absolutely. Yes, there is, let's see, I believe armband for $20, all you can ride on that Sunday the 11th from 1 to 5:30. So you can really pack in some riding for a deal for $20.
Yeah, and also the first Saturday is $20, and that's all you can ride plus concert.
That includes admission.
So,
that includes admission. Other days, the admission, general admission, is $7 on other days. But
that'll be one of our bigger days, the first Saturday.
Yeah, no doubt.
As much as we like rain, we don't want any of that day.
That's right. That's right. All right, let's go to Monday. You ready for Monday?
On Monday, yes, Monday evening, starting at 5, is the beauty pageants. So we start with the Little Miss, and then the Miss Teen, and then the fairest of the fair, Miss Lincoln County. So that will be going on Monday evening. In the afternoon, there's also dairy cattle shows. And I think I may have forgot to mention on the first Saturday, there's also other things happening before the concert.
Oh, yeah.
There'll be some beef cattle shows in the afternoon, and there's our barbecue cook-off.
Oh, wow.
So we don't want to forget that. They set up on Friday night, and they'll be there Saturday. So come on Saturday, and you'll smell some wonderful barbecue smoke.
No doubt.
But back to Monday, that's always the big night to crown our fairest of the fair, and then she will be involved the rest of the week also in presenting awards at the harness racing and other events. Tractor pull and the demolition derby. So there's a lot more to come than after Monday night.
Yeah, if you become fairest of the fair, you're going to be a busy fairest of the fair that week, and that's an honor that they live with. And I've met many of the fairest of the fairs over the years, and that's something they never forget. And it's a great opportunity for all the girls that's going through there. And I know people who are interested in getting in the fairest of the fair now. So what do they need to do to actually get to participate?
Need to contact Ruthie Jeans, and in the front few pages of the catalog there are contact numbers to find.
You would have like an application of some sort to fill out for that.
They actually at Bagley and Bagley, Carrie
Sullivan. Carrie Sullivan at Bagley and Bagley
handles that, and you can go there and get an application, and she can inform you of the procedure.
Lincoln County's full of beautiful young ladies, and so they're asking me how to do that, and I think I've told them Bagley and Bagley, so we're heading in the right direction.
Okay.
Right.
All right. Looking forward to that. That's always a big night for the fair, and another big tradition. And so we're moving on to Tuesday, and that's the beginning, I bet, of harness racing, correct?
Absolutely.
That's a big thing for the fair, and that's something I'm sure that helps you win champion of champion fairs, because that's a neat thing.
It's unique to our fair, to Lincoln County. We're the only fair in Tennessee that has harness racing.
Wow.
Right. And actually the first race was ran in 1890.
I believe 1889.
89.
Wow.
89, yes.
Over.
Yeah,
yes,
so
over
it's been around a long time, and we're excited about it, and that we've been to other tracks. We've just got a fantastic facility. Johnny Farmer, Randy Cooley.
Oh yeah.
They've been around almost as long as Fair has, but do a fantastic job.
They make that harness racing come together.
And it's a year-round thing. I mean, those guys work all year, and I don't know if you're aware, but we lost the top off of 12 stalls.
Yeah.
About 6 weeks ago.
April 27th, yeah.
No, not April. This is just recently.
Oh, recently?
Recently, yeah.
Man.
Yeah.
It's in July.
And they really hustled and just got them back finished.
Good.
And got them. They're ready to go. But those guys work hard.
Wow, that's very good. They got that back up and running.
But we have harness racing starting on Tuesday afternoon, and I think every day through the following Saturday, and on Wednesday we have it. Wednesday afternoon, Wednesday night?
Right, 7 o'clock Wednesday night also.
Wednesday night.
Yeah.
Under the lights.
Night harness racing is really a neat thing, and will Charlie Thurl be back?
Absolutely.
Wow.
Yeah, we
can't do it without him.
Yeah, we talked to him not long ago, and he's excited and coming back. He'll come back as long as he can, I'm sure.
Yeah, here they come. Yeah. Nothing better than hearing Charlie Thurl at the Lincoln County Fair, and people just love hearing him, and he knows harness racing.
He does. He calls the races in Philadelphia, Mississippi at the Neshoba County Fair, and that's the only fair in the state of Mississippi that has harness racing. So he's a cornerstone there like he is here. So we're excited about him coming.
Very good. And it's good. So we're going to have one night of harness racing at the night, so the folks that work during the day, and of course you'll have it on Saturday afternoon as well, the following Saturday, so people get a chance to, and a lot of people come out there too, and that
big
night
day,
harness racing.
Yeah. Big day.
Yeah. All right, so Tuesday night, what we got? We got something else? We got something big there, right?
Right.
Demo Derby.
Demolition Derby.
Patrick's favorite.
Demolition Derby's always been a big hit, and I've met folks from out of state that have been to the Lincoln County Fair and experienced their first Demolition Derby ever, and they can't wait to come back again the next year. So it is a lot of fun. Used to be, our next to the concert night, our biggest night. So this year we're having 2 nights again. We did this last year. It was very, very popular. It's popular with the drivers and with the spectators. So on Tuesday night, And on Thursday night, we'll have Demolition Derby, 2 big nights.
Well, smash,
Starting
bang, crash them up, and they put them back together and try it again on Thursday
That's
night.
right. Have a grand finale Thursday night.
That's great. That night has been so good over the years, and you made it bigger by having 2 nights, so that's great. And a fun thing for the fair.
During the day on Tuesday, we'll also have, it's Senior Citizens Day.
Oh, yeah.
So senior citizens get in for $2. And maybe checking IDs at the gate. So, also antique tractor display on Tuesday as well. So that's a big hit. Beef cattle shows that day as well.
I know you probably got a lot of sponsors, and I probably shouldn't pull that, but I believe First National Bank sponsors that always have sponsored Senior Citizens Day, and so they're always there giving out one day they do anyway,
well,
and I'm sure some other banks do too.
Yeah, well, they're actually not sponsoring Senior Citizens this day. We kind of traded around because they all want to.
Oh, I bet they do, because that's good.
Yeah, I think this year it's First Commerce Bank.
First Commerce,
right.
Very good.
Senior Citizen Day. They all wrestle that, but we try to spread it around.
Good. I didn't know.
And I might take this opportunity to thank our sponsors. We, the Lincoln County Fair could not be put on without sponsors, and we have great community involvement and great sponsors, and it takes that sponsorship to get the fair started. Because the fair is not a big money maker. It's just something, services supplied to the county, and we appreciate our sponsors. And actually, in the catalog book, there are a lot of the other sponsors besides the corporate sponsors, but we really want to thank the sponsors and for their attention. We have the gates. There's several of the local businesses that work the gates 3 nights, and we've got FFA working the gates 2 or 3 nights, and we Boy Scouts are selling programs, selling chairs. We just.
They also, I don't know if they still do, but they used to clean up. They still clean up.
No.
I'm so far.
They last year was the first year they didn't. Just because it keeps them up so late at night.
It was late. It's always late.
And it's school night.
School night.
Sure. Well, I understand.
So we've got some other folks that do that now, but actually this year we've got the band is working the gates one night, I think.
Good.
And, so we try to give back to the to the community as much as we can, and still get the job done. And but we've got great community involvement. And I'm sorry to interrupt. Keep on with the rest of the nights there. But
all right. So we're at Tuesday night. Anything else on Tuesday you want to talk about there, Mary?
Let's see. I think we hit the high spots.
All right. So we're going to go to Wednesday.
On Wednesday.
And.
Another big day of harness racing, of course, starting at 2. Of course, all the weekday harness racing starts at 2. The last Saturday starts at 1. So a few more races that day. But on Wednesday afternoon, we'll have harness racing. We'll also have 4-H projects and some sheep shows. So that'll be interesting to anybody that wants to walk through the barns, the livestock barns. There'll be animals in there to look at. We are going to have a recognition for Century Farms. Century Farms in Lincoln County at 6 o'clock in the fair office on Wednesday evening.
Wednesday evening, very good.
Lincoln County is one of the largest counties in Tennessee with numbers of Century Farms. And a Century Farm is a farm that has been involved in agriculture production for 100 years or more within the same family. So that we have a list of, I think, 20 or more Century Farms that are
and at the same location.
At the same properties. So they're also featured in our catalog, and we hope to honor some newer Century Farms that have just been certified this year.
I happened to notice one on Chenault Ford Road. Did you know there's one out there? That's like a half, maybe less than half a mile from the bypass. And we were out there doing some work, and I stopped and looked, and it was an old dairy barn. It was Century Farm, had all the plaques and all that. Yeah, it's for being that close to the city. I actually backed up and went, but that is a very cool thing to have. And for somebody to own the farm and it's still intact, that's just so neat.
Well, it says something for a county.
It does.
And the folks in the county.
It really does. Okay, so Wednesday also canned food. That's a good thing y'all are doing.
Right. Two to get $1 off a general admission, which general admission is just $7 a person, but you can get in for $6 if you bring some non-perishable food items to donate.
Good.
And these will be distributed to local food banks.
Very
and that's
good.
that's on Wednesday, anytime Wednesday.
Very good.
So
we've
harness
got-
racing again that night at 7 p.m. So stick around all day and all evening.
And a lot of 4-H activities, and also
Absolutely.
We've pretty much mentioned that. So now we're ready for Thursday afternoon, and a lot of things going on there.
All right, Thursday afternoon we do have, of course, harness racing again starting at 2, but we have some beef cattle shows on that afternoon. We have a poultry show and sale, and these we get 4-H kids involved in raising chicks, and then they get to show them at the fair and sell them to make some money to buy some more chicks and start it again next year. So that's a good experience for them.
Only our second year for that. And,
Oh, really?
And the 4-H ag departments who founded this program, and it's really been a success.
I'd love to video that, but I'm always tied up with harness racing. But there's so much in the barn that would just be a great. There's a show in every stall there almost. So everybody wants to talk about their animal or what they're doing, and it's just a good opportunity for people to come out to the fair and see that, because it's something to be proud of. All right, so Thursday night we're back to Demo Derby.
Demolition Derby, certainly. And also might say that as far as the carnival rides, there's a coupon available for that night that is available at our sponsors all around town. And I apologize for not naming all our sponsors, I guess, but there's so many, and I hope that you can put up a list of them. They're certainly in our catalog and also on our website. But this coupon will be available around town for $5 off an armband. And the armbands are $20, so you get an armband to ride all you can for $15.
Okay.
And that's available between 5 o'clock and closing. Closing sort of depends on how many people are on the ground, so it would be 10 o'clock or later probably.
Sure. Might mention, I think the website's on the front of this thing. It's www.lincolncountyfairinfo.com. So you can get on there, and if you want to go back and look at any of these things that we're talking about. So let's see. We've got the Demo Derby again, we mentioned on Thursday night, and so we're ready for Friday, a big day at the fair again, always a big day at the fair.
Harness racing again, starting at 2, of course. Sheep show, 4-H, and open, and FFA, and some beef cattle shows, Red Angus and Black Angus. They'll be happening on Friday afternoon. And then Friday night is our truck and tractor pull. And that's a big popular evening as well. A lot of loud motors, a lot of souped up tractors and trucks, and very, very entertaining to watch. So that's Friday night.
I'll add, on Friday night, our tractor pull, Brad Swing is in charge of, and his entourage are in charge of tractor pull and putting it on. He's got a good crew. He's been in charge of it for several years. He's really excited. He bought or the fair bought some kind of a packing machine, and he just thinks it's going to be the best tractor pull ever. Brought it all the way from Texas, and he might have went out and got it, I don't know. But he's really excited. And to back up, Darren Sims is kind of in charge of the Demolition Derby. Has been for years and does a fantastic job. We don't want to fail to mention any of these guys.
Oh yeah, they're into it, and they take care of it, and that's something you got to be proud of, because you got to have it. You got to have it.
That's right.
All right, so we're ready for Saturday.
Saturday, our last big day of the fair, 17th. So we will have harness racing starting at 1 that day. We will have the draft horse and mule shows following harness racing. So they're pretty fantastic to see. 4-H is involved with the wool on parade, so you get to see that. And they have like a fashion show of things that the 4-H students have made with wool. So and then the winner of that will get to go to state competition.
Very good.
There's also antique tractor presentation that day. Let's see. Armband from 1 to 5:30, $20 for carnival rides. And that night, another concert. So it's been a few years since we've had two concerts in the same fair, but
yeah, and you got two good ones because this is Colt Ford.
Colt
and,
Ford.
Man, that is some Southern country he does.
absolutely,
so, for sure.
absolutely. It surprises me, or I shouldn't say surprises, but I've been amazed how popular Colt Ford is in this area with the young folks, and they're very excited, and we're happy to say that there's no extra charge for admission that night. It's $7 general admission, and you get a concert, and he does have an opening act. We just found out we're going to have an opening act for him too, and it's two guys who are kind of a country rock group called Florida Georgia Line.
Wow.
They'll be opening for Colt Ford. So some kind of new up-and-coming talent from Nashville, and we're excited to have then two big nights of concert this year.
That is great. Yeah.
So Colt Ford, he co-wrote the song Dirt Road Anthem that has been very, very popular. Jason Aldean just, I think, made it #1 recently, but Colt Ford did it first. So
wow.
Come see him at the Lincoln County Fair.
Yeah. And the fair again is September the 10th through the 17th, and it's you need to get one of these books at just about anywhere around town, and I'm sure there's a lot that we've probably left out. We want to thank everybody who helps you, and maybe some closing comments and things we need to discuss. Let everybody know what else may be missing.
One thing we hadn't talked about is our carnival.
True.
Bell City Amusement. They've been involved in the Lincoln County Fair for, gosh, 15 or 20 years, and one of the premier carnivals in the country. They do all the state fairs up north, and we're really excited to have them. The Panacheks, their mother, Charles's mother, is from Huntington, Tennessee, and she actually married the guy that owned the carnival 50 years ago when it came through Huntington, and he has since died, and his son has taken it over, and they love coming here, and
and Miss Barry still comes.
Yeah, she's still
in
comes.
her 80s, and she is
late 80s. Yeah,
hard to keep up with.
Yeah, but want everybody to come out and enjoy that like we always have, because they'll be here, and every year they bring a new ride. We're excited to see what they bring this year, and some of our Fair Board members ride some of the rides that can take it, and Don will offer you an invitation to ride with the younger kids if you'd like it.
I don't think I can handle it.
Ring of Fire.
Yeah. Again, want to thank all of our sponsors, large and small, for what they do, and all of our volunteer workers. Could not put the fair on without them. It makes it easier for us. We just do these kind of things, and they do the work. Mary, anything there?
Parking in the fairgrounds is $5 per car until we fill up. And some nights we actually fill up.
Oh, yeah.
But that did want to mention that. And that there are season passes. If you think you're going to come every night, certainly the season pass is worth it for $35.
Sure.
It does not include the first Saturday night. That's the $20 admission, whether you have a season pass or not. But the rest of the week, 6 days of $35 will get you in every day. The parking's not included with that, but it's cheaper than paying $7 every time you come in the gate.
Sure.
And they will have those at the Fayetteville Lincoln County Chamber of Commerce office, and also at the hair company. Miss Cindy Harwell has been involved with the fair board for years as well, very active in the harness racing, and she always has passes at her hair company studio.
So on Mulberry Avenue, right?
On Mulberry Avenue.
That's right. Well, we appreciate y'all coming. We've had Jimmy Carter and Mary Carter here today talking about the 107th Lincoln County Fair coming up September the 10th through the 17th, and Fayetteville, Lincoln County is always gearing up and getting ready for that. We appreciate y'all coming by. Appreciate y'all talking about the fair, and appreciate what all y'all do. It's going to be a good year.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. And we appreciate you watching here on Fayetteville Public Utilities, Channel 6. I'm Don Counts, and we will see you at the fair.